And the good seed is the sons of the kingdom. Woo! In the previous parable, the good seed was the word of the kingdom. You remember I preached on that last week. The good seed was the word of the kingdom. But in the second parable, the good seed are the sons of the kingdom, which means that the word of the kingdom produces sons of the kingdom. The word of the kingdom, if received on good ground, will produce a son of the kingdom. That's not a gender reference. That's a Hebrew idiom explaining the nature of the person. The person is a person of the kingdom. Kingdom mentality, kingdom agenda, kingdom culture, kingdom language. We're kingdom people. Look at your neighbor, say, I'm a kingdomite. Because like I said last week, we are at a crossroads in Christianity in which we're going to have to decide whether or not we are here to build churches or to establish the kingdom. And if you decide we're here to build churches, then you are usurping the role of Jesus. Because Jesus said, upon this rock, I will build my church. Wish I had some help in here today. He did not say, upon this rock, you will build my church. And he definitely didn't say, upon this rock, I will build your church. He said, I will build my church. Church building is the prerogative of Jesus. In the book of Acts, the Lord added daily to the church such as should be saved. But he concludes, and behold, I give unto you the keys of the kingdom. Whatsoever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. What you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. In other words, he gives Peter the authority, kingdom authority. He says, your role is the kingdom. Mine is the church. You activate and operate the kingdom, and I'll build the church. And by the way, did you notice that it is whatsoever you shall bind on earth that will be bound in heaven? Did you notice that? Yeah, I'm just going to go there. Because we want to think that heaven is controlling the earth. But for kingdom people, the earth is controlling the heavens. Keep it going, bro. We want to think that heaven controls earth, but for kingdom-minded people, it is the earth that is controlling the heavens. Whatsoever you will bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. You still struggling with that? When Jacob had his dream of a ladder whose top reached heaven, notice the ladder was set up on the earth and its top reached the heaven. Where was it set up? On the earth. He then saw angels ascending, then descending. Y'all ain't gonna help. Going up before coming down. Where was the power? It was on the earth. Where does rain come from? The naive mind says it comes from the sky. But the educated mind knows that it has come from the earth. This move of God you're looking for, you start it here. Yeah. You have that power when you're kingdom minded, because you have dual citizenship. You live on earth and in heaven at the same time, because heaven is a dimension, not a cloud, little babies playing trumpets and wings. A dimension. The word of the kingdom produces kingdom-minded people. But in this parable, the seed are the sons of the kingdom. The field is the world. And he who sows the seed is Jesus, which means that Jesus is actively planting his children into the world. What? Yeah. God brings you into the church, the community of the church, for the word of the kingdom to produce a kingdom-minded person, to produce a son of the kingdom. But what he is now going to do with you, as you have kingdom mentality, is he's going to plant you in the world. What is the world? Oh, help me now. What is the world? The Greek word translated world here is the word cosmos. Everyone say cosmos. It is from the Greek cosmos we get the English cosmetic, because it describes an arrangement, a decoration. This is a reference to the world system, not the planet. If you think of the world as geography, then God already has children all over the world. But if you think of the world as demography, in the sense that what makes London London is not simply where it is on the map, its culture makes it London. Its economy makes it London. Come on now. Its norms and values make it London. Its businesses and enterprises, its buildings, that makes it London. So when he talks about the world, he's talking about the system of the world, and the Son of Man plants his children into the systems of the world. That includes spheres and sectors, industries and institutions, cultures and subcultures, organizations and brands. God will target a brand and plant you in there. Why will he put you in there as a seed? Remember, you're a seed now, the good seed, the sons of the kingdom. Why would he put a seed into a secular soil? Why? That's explained in the third parable of the kingdom, about the mustard seed, in which he says, though it is the smallest of the seeds, it will become the largest of the trees. Reason God puts you in their system is so that you will become larger, the biggest tree in the system. You will increase your influence, and God will have access and agency to that domain. So God's planting you. What is he doing? God is planting you where? Which is always sad for me. I'm almost finished my reading, by the way. It's always sad for me when a Christian has nothing going on in your life but the church. Because now you're definitely going to become possessive and territorial Because if anyone touches your thing, they're touching your whole life. You are not supposed to have nothing going on Monday to Saturday. What? I told you I'm going to be in trouble today. You're supposed to have a life. You're supposed to have hobbies. Oh, help me now. You're supposed to be a member of clubs and associations. I wish I had some help in here. You're supposed to have an industry in which you operate. Oh, help me now. You're supposed to have a life work, a magnificent obsession, a project that will outlive you. You're supposed to have people you serve and service outside of church. Because if all you do with your whole life can be squeezed into 2 hours on a Sunday, how sad is your whole life? This is good preaching, right? That's right. Sometimes we have to learn to say amen or say ouch. Huh? Ouch! Let's keep reading. Watch this. The sons of the kingdom. The weeds. Listen, if God is targeting these sectors and spheres of social influence, then guess who else is targeting them? Who? The devil. Keep reading. Let's scroll it up real quickly. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. Get ready for this. Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor, the reapers are the preachers. Someone's thinking, no, Bishop, it didn't say that. It said the reapers are the angels. You know why? Because we like to think of angels as these tall fellows with wings that fly around. But the word angel means messenger. The reapers are the messengers of God. The reapers are the preachers. And you know who's challenged the most in this parable? It's the preachers that are challenged. Because it's the preachers that want to root out the weeds. It's the preachers that are obsessed with rooting out the weeds, liberating the wheat, putting a distinction, creating separation. I grew up in a church culture obsessed with separation. Come out from among them, saith the Lord, and be ye separate. We were so separate. No one even knew we existed. We were so separate. We became invisible. We were so separate. Come out from among them and be ye separate. And we sang songs that make us feel good about our separation. The things I used to do, I don't do them no more. The places I used to go, I don't go there no more. And what the mean is, I don't go anywhere anymore. I go to church on Sunday morning, then on Sunday night, then prayer meetings on Monday, Bible study on Tuesday, choir rehearsal on Wednesday, the youth services on Thursday, and then, because that's all I do now. Separate. Preachers are the ones challenged with separation. But God said at the end of the age, the preachers will be able to separate the wheat from the weeds. So my subject this morning, racism is not your problem. knew it'd be quiet. Look at how quiet you are. Racism is not your problem. Thank you very much. Since you've all left me anyway, you can all feel free to do whatever you want to do. So first, let's make this very clear. I did not say racism is not a problem. Help me now. I said racism is not your problem. It's not your problem. Neither is sexism your problem. Neither is ageism your problem. Weightism. Some of you don't know what weightism is. I know what weightism is by experience. People's prejudice and opinions are not your problem. Can I tell you that there's a difference between prejudice and racism? Do you mind? Can I do that? Prejudice means prejustice. Prejustice. Which means I've made a judgment about you before having the facts. Based on a feature. Typically an ascribed feature. In other words, one you had no control over. Like the color of your skin. Your gender. You don't get to choose your gender. Did you know that? In trouble already. At birth, you don't get to choose you don't have a conversation with your mother. Say, I think I'd like to be a boy. I think I'd like to be a girl. But there are people out here who will judge the book by its cover and decide that the book is worth reading, not worth reading, or should be binned and scrapped based on one piece of information. It's called prejudice. Prejudice. And can I tell you, every one of you under the hearing of my voice is guilty. We all do it. Some of us do it consciously, but most of us do it subconsciously, unconsciously. We meet people and we make decisions about them. Come on now. You look at their hair and you feel like you know them. Matt took his hat off. You look at his hair or lack thereof, and you think you know them. Ladies, some people will meet you, and based on the size of your earrings, they know you. You get what I'm saying, Charlene? Based on the size of your earrings, they know you. You have a little rip in your jeans, they know you. Come on now. And we make these subconscious judgments in milliseconds and decide that our defenses will be raised or they'll be lowered. Raised defenses means I perceive a potential threat. Therefore, I am in protective mode. Protective mode can just look like difficult to converse with. All right? Protective mode can be avoidance. You ever been somewhere and the people are just avoiding you? Never had that? What are they doing? It's prejudice. You don't know. And see, the reason I can't take your prejudice too seriously is because I have them myself. You understand what I'm saying? But I am emotionally intelligent enough to know that my judgments about you are probably false. And if I have the time, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to look beyond your age, your size, your shade, your style, how you choose to dress. I'm going to look beyond that and say hello. Tell me more about yourself. And I may find out that beneath the surface, there's something very precious, special, and valuable about you. But there are a lot of people who don't have that level of emotional intelligence or social or relational intelligence. They don't have it. And from you look a certain way, they have decided who you are. And they're going to avoid you. Or they're going to make it difficult for you to build a bridge. And we all do it. But racism occurs when prejudice meets power. When prejudice meets power. It occurs when, in the name of the state, or in the name of an institution, or in the name of an organization, you get to discriminate against me based on your prejudice. That make sense? So what's dangerous is the police officer who is prejudiced discriminating against you on the basis of their prejudice. Make sense? The housing officer discriminating against you on the basis of their prejudice. The doctor, the nurse, the midwife discriminating against you on the basis of their prejudice. Because they have power to make life-altering decisions on your behalf. And you would at least like them to know you before they make the life-altering decision, and not just see you coming and decide you're not getting that house. Before you get in the room, you're not getting this job. Oh, we'll go through the process of interviewing you, but I've already decided you're not getting this job. Because prejudice meets power. Now you are dealing with power structures and systems that work against you. You are at an auto disadvantage because the system now works against you. Because there are some judges who have prejudged you before the trial. Why? Because you got plaits in your head. You're trying to grow your dreads. And you know, bro, there's a stage when you're trying to grow the dreads. You just look like a criminal. You know that. There's a stage. There's a stage when you're trying to grow the beard. It doesn't say, no. Stay home. Don't go out. There's a stage when it's not ready for presentation. Some of you are seeing people in your mind right now. There's a stage. So what I don't want is to live in a society where a judge has already determined I'm guilty because of my hair, my color, whatever. You've already determined. That's racism. That's an enemy. That's a problem. But it's not your problem. Yeah, I'm going somewhere today. Because we act like Jesus wasn't the ultimate victim of racism. But he was. He lived with it. He grew up in it. So what do you mean racism? Yeah, I mean that from you say I am a Jew in Judea 2,000 years ago, we don't need any other information. We've already prejudged you. The people with power, namely the Romans, so I'll say the Romans. The Romans had the power. And that power was delegated to Jewish people who were under Roman control. So that Herod, Jewish king, but pretty much employed by the state. Reality is then that Jesus grew up as a second-class citizen under an oppressive, tyrannical regime in which his kind were discriminated against actively daily. But how often do you see him mentioning it? Oh, help me now. You would think historically that Jesus' teaching should be full of, watch them Romans. I want the Romans to give me reparation for every devastation. That's what he should have been doing, right? He should have been attacking the system of Rome that had oppressed his people, slaughtered his people, and were actively discriminating against his people on a daily basis. But he doesn't. Woo! He doesn't. I better start preaching now because I'm already in so much trouble. I'm going to jump on the keyboard myself in a minute and do my own thing, right? Watch me. I'm going to do this. But I'm going to start preaching. Watch this now. Jesus does not. Fundamentally, he says, my kingdom is not of this world. Oh my gosh. Hold on a second. My kingdom is not of this world. Woo! And since he is the king of his kingdom, and his kingdom is spiritual because he says the kingdom is within you, he is very clear as to his mission. His mission was not to change their system. Help me now. His mission was to plant the word of the kingdom in good hearts to produce more sons of the kingdom who could be deployed into spheres and sectors, industries and institutions, and like the mustard seed eventually become the tree that transforms the entire environment. Because what Jesus has is long-range strategy, not knee-jerk emotion. Knee-jerk emotion has never helped any people to realize their potential, but a long-range strategy always does. Jesus has generational vision. He understands that generational problems require generational solutions and generational thinking and generational execution of a plan beyond your lifetime. Woo! So just to make it clear, here's Jesus saying, look, yes, we are totally oppressed. We are totally marginalized. We're being slaughtered, robbed, and oppressed by this big system. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to spend my 3 years of ministry preaching against them. Instead, I'm going to spend the time preaching to you, because you will be the sons of my kingdom. You'll become the sons of my kingdom because the good seed of the word of the kingdom, I'm going to keep depositing it in you. And if you continue in my word, then are you my disciples indeed. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. So while everyone is physically bound, you're going to experience a degree of psychological emancipation and freedom. You're going to be walking around and talking and operating like a free person because the word is going to make you free. And that word is going to turn you into a son of the kingdom, which is going to give you kingdom mentality. And you're going to realize that you are not a subject and you are not a slave. That I am not the king of subjects and slaves. I am the king of other kings. You're going to realize that you are the royal family of God in the earth. You're going to be thinking superior thoughts. You're going to be dreaming bigger dreams. You're going to be setting your sights on bigger goals. You're going to begin to imagine a global global enterprise, which is the enterprise of God. And you're going to begin to look at the Romans and the emperors and their procurators, and you're going to say it's a matter of time before your system crumbles, because the stone has hit the feet of this image, and it's going to break the whole thing into pieces. And you might not understand everything I say right now, but I'm speaking into the atmosphere for a generation that will hear it. You must understand that the system of oppression is described in Daniel as the image of a man with a head of gold, with a chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of brass, legs of iron, feet of iron and clay. They were prophetic references to the succession of world kingdoms from Babylon to Rome. The head of gold was Babylon. Woo! The chest and arms of silver were the Medo-Persian Empire, which succeeded the Babylonians. The belly and thighs of brass represented the Greek Empire, which overthrew the Medes and the Persians. And the legs of iron were the Roman Empire. And the final expression of the Roman Empire was part iron and part clay, because they mingled with the sons of men. But here's what Daniel said. He said, in the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom on the earth. And he said that's what's meant by a stone hitting the feet of the image. And when the stone hit the feet of the image, it broke the whole image in pieces. Jesus, the stone that the builders rejected, was actually the stone of God that hit the feet of the Roman Empire. Because when Jesus hit it, when he landed, it was the beginning of the end for every oppressive, demonic, satanic regime. I'm here to tell you, the end times began 2,000 years ago. You said, what? Did it really? Yeah. Peter got up on the day of Pentecost and said, it will come to pass in the last days, I'll pour out my spirit on all flesh. This is that. We are in the last days. In John, he says, beloved, it is the last time. And you've heard the Antichrist will come. Even now there are many Antichrists. That's why we know it is the last time. The last days began 2,000 years ago. The reason you don't understand that is because you think that days are 24-hour periods. But one day, is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. God had the whole plan of redemption, the plan of the restitution of all things. The whole plan was to be executed in 3 days. Everyone say 3 days. Everyone say 3 days. The plan of God to reclaim a planet and to restore that which was lost, to save that which was lost, was always a 3-day plan. Jesus said, destroy this temple and in 3 days I will what? Raise it up. Those were the 3 days of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. Correct? Okay. Well, watch this. Watch this. What about the 3 millennial days? 3,000 years. You want to know another mystery of the kingdom? You know what the next parable is after this one? It's about leaven being hidden in 3 meals. In 3 pieces of dough. Because those are the stages of the takeover. The takeover was never going to happen in 1 generation. The takeover was going to happen in 3 days, which are 3 millenniums. Whew. And guess where we are? At the morning of the 3rd millennium. And you know what happens on the morning of the 3rd day? Resurrection happens on the morning of the 3rd day. So we are living in profoundly prophetic times. And it's very important to know that Jesus was focused on his mission. It was generational. It was long range. He wasn't going to try to attack their system. He was going to build his own. You can spend the rest of your life attacking them, or you can spend it building yours. I've already decided I have no time or energy or mind space to attack them. I need that time, that energy, and that mind space to build mine. Yeah, I know we're struggling out here today, but that's all right. You got to decide where your energy is going to go. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And I'm not going to give my energy to them, because even after you defeat them, you still have nothing that is yours. Because you haven't built yours. You just spent your life fighting them. Is this making any sense to anyone? Okay. Give me a couple more minutes. Did you notice in our reading that there is nothing the weeds can do to stop the wheat from growing? That's what Jesus said, leave them. Let them grow together. Let them grow together. Oh, I thought if you leave the weeds in the field, the weeds are going to strangle the wheat and the wheat will never come to maturity. But no, the opposite is clearly true. The weeds cannot stop the wheat from growing. The wheat are going to grow and the weeds are going to grow. It's called the fact of life. You know what the fact of life is? You are never going to be outstanding. You are never going to be excellent. You're never going to reach the pinnacle of your highest potential without adversity and opposition and nasty people and toxicity and difficulty and challenge. The fact of life is that you are fantasizing about a life without opposition and adversity. And if you have no haters, it's because you're not doing anything worth talking about. If you have no haters, you are bored stiff. But once you decide I'm going to make something of my life, I'm going to do something about my destiny, I'm going to build something that will outlive me, you're going to generate, you're going to have weeds around you. But the weeds cannot stop you from growing. Which means the weeds are not my problem. The weeds are not your opinions about me are not my problem. They are your problem. You can't stop me growing. Therefore, I will not give any attention to your problem. Because it's not my problem. That's your problem. I have a lot of problems, but your opinion of me is not one of them. Oh, I wish I had some help in here today. I want you to look at your neighbor and say, I have a lot of problems, but your opinion is not one of them. Look at your other neighbor and say, you don't pay my bills. Oh God, help me now. You don't put any food on my table. Come on now. You have no doors to open for me. And you can't close any doors for me. Your opinion is not one of my problems. You're entitled to it. Help yourself. It's good preaching, Bishop. You kind of have to be liberated from the idea that people must affirm you. That one's too deep. I don't know how deep I can go with this. But affirmation is often the motivation for all manner of initiative. We do things to be affirmed. We do things, we dress, we start things, we build things because we need affirmation. Why do we need so much affirmation? Because we never had it. Yeah, I know that I'm preaching to people. Some of you never heard your father say, I love you. Some of you never heard your mother say, you're the best, you're brilliant. And what that leaves is a little void in your life. And that void, you spend the rest of your life trying to fill it. Don't ask me how I know. You spend the rest of your life trying to fill the void. Huh? Yeah, I got daddy issues. Are there any other men in here can say, yeah, I have daddy issues? We don't like to admit it, but we've never been affirmed by the people that were meant to affirm us. And therefore we go into life looking for affirmation, which means we take rejection more deeply than we should. We take rejection too hard. It really, who rejected you? And how do they matter? Yeah, but it hurts. Of course it hurts. Because it's nothing to do with them. It's to do with the fact that you never had the affirmation that you were supposed to have. Glory to God. Which is why when God sent his son into ministry, he said, not yet. Yes, you passed the temptation test. Yes, you passed the test, Jesus. You were 40 days and 40 nights with the devil, and you never listened to the devil one time, and you told the devil about himself. That's a colloquial phrase, by the way. It means many things. It's a very loaded phrase. You told the devil about himself. Right? But you're still not ready to go into ministry. Because now I need you to go and see John, your cousin. Well, no, not even that way. I'm tipping the other way around. Before you go into your temptation, you needed to see John, because passing temptation is not the only qualification for a successful ministry. He said, before you go into the temptation and launch your ministry, I want you to hear this. I want you to hear it, and I want everyone around you to hear me say it. You are my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Because that will take you through lonely nights. It will take you through the wilderness. It will take you through the temptation. It will take you through the heights of fame and the depths of not enough. It will carry you. Just remember, I said it. I want you to hear it and everyone around you to hear me say it. You are my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Which means Jesus can now start his ministry from a place of affirmation instead of start his ministry in order to get affirmation. Because when you start your ministry to get affirmation, the one empty seat throws you down to hell. The people didn't turn up, and now you can't sleep or eat food. The offering was bad, and now you want to throw the microphone across the room. You're going home in fits of rage because people control your emotional state because you started a ministry to get affirmation. You didn't start it from a place of already being affirmed. Because when you started from a place of already being affirmed, it doesn't matter if two people show up. Come on, somebody. It doesn't matter if the building is not full. You already know who you are. You know whose you are. And nothing you see with your eyes can shake you. Like my post, don't like my post. So what? It's the mystery of all mysteries is 1,000 views and 25 likes. It is the mother of all mysteries. So who are these people watching? But can't bring themselves to identify with you publicly as I like this. Let me tell you, your haters are watching everything that you do. That's where your 1,000 views is coming from. You got 25 friends that actually like what you're doing. And the rest, you're looking with a kind of skeptical, is it? I bet that's not even his car. I'm sure that's an old holiday snap. Look at the gap in his teeth, though. This is what people out here doing. Now, if you come from a place of affirmation, you can smile at that. But if you're doing everything to get affirmation, these people hurt you. Here's my point. I cannot change your perception of me outside of a relationship with you. You're not even open to a relationship. Therefore, I have to live with the fact that you have prejudged me. But that's not my problem. That's your problem. Because I am going to keep growing. I'm going to keep growing until I am so big that you are so small. I'm going to keep growing until your comments mean nothing to me. I'll keep growing to the place where the expression on your face means nothing to me. You hear that? It means nothing. I'll keep growing to where even if you decide you want to cuss me. Again, it's another colloquial phrase. It means many things. It houses a lot of ideas. You decide you want to cuss me. You want to tell me about myself. I want to keep growing to where that's interesting. Your point of view is interesting. I never thought of it like that. That's an interesting point of view. I don't agree with your point of view. And I'm getting late for my appointment. You go ahead and have a good life. Do your thing. Huh? Yeah. I got things to do. People to see. Places to go. Some books to read. Huh? There's some calls to make. But you do your thing. Enjoy yourself. Is that good preaching? All right, let's all stand to our feet. Is that good preaching? That's right. I wish I heard all this when I was your age. You know that? I do. It's a burden for me right now